So they're going to start coming after the Self Custody wallets, the Mixer, Samourai Wallet. Doesn't matter what it is, they're going to come after it. So the true battle is who's going to actually KYC and who isn't, because at the end of the day, a pseudo-anonymous wallet is a wallet they don't know about. They want to know all your money, what you have, and you're going to have to report it. So it's interesting because obviously in practice it's going to be very difficult, but it doesn't matter because it will deter a lot of people because they will be breaking the law, right? Technically in some countries, there'll be some countries where this isn't possible. They just don't have the manpower. Really, this is almost how some of the, what you would call third world countries have a chance to come up, because people are going to be forced to move to countries where they don't have the physical infrastructure and manpower to enforce laws like this. There's going to be so many people to go after. It's going to be sort of like the torrent effect. However, it will deter a lot of people. And the big fear, not fear, just if we're game theorying this out, we're looking for the Achilles heel. It's people just not picking up the freedom tools. We have a very basic knowledge of how to use these things at this point. We know what Bitcoin is. We understand, how to run a text-based layer, how to have the free speech, like how to do what we need to do to succeed. The freedom tools are there, but if people don't pick them up, we're fucked. And it's a worry because you can only control what you can control, right? Like you could say, oh, I'll go to battle, but if you're running out there alone or with very few, you're just going to get trumped. To some people, that will be a deterrent in itself. That's what they like to do. They like to isolate. They like to make you think you're alone, so you don't want to be the one that takes the arrow because you think it'll be in vain. Most people don't want to fight a losing battle. They'll say, okay, well, if that battle is going to be lost, pretty much guarantee I'm going to try to make the best of the shitty situation. So instead of like going against tyranny and then tyranny winning and then you being flagged, as very terrible person in a new terrible system, and you get the worst end of it, people will go ahead and try to find whatever safety they can and comfort in actually ushering in the new tyranny system. So we're in a very fragile spot. It really just kind of sucks. It is like, so people just they lack the fundamental knowledge and understanding, and it's not that they're dumb, they just don't care. They don't care. They don't think about things like personal freedoms. They take them. People have been born with personal freedoms their whole life, and they just think it's a given. They don't comprehend that they're being taken away. And you notice every generation bitches more about the freedoms being taken away. And it seems like we're getting into a slow, the frog in the boiling water situation. So people need to use freedom tools, move to countries, because people think, oh, you leave the country, you're quitting on your people. It's like, well, no, that's like saying, well, if I don't stay on a blockchain that's been taken over, like Steam, if I don't fork, and I have to stay with the new regime where there's zero power, it's like, no, you fork, i.e. you leave. You go to another landmass and you use your power there, and then these people are like, holy shit, we're losing citizens. Like, because we're only as powerful as the people we can basically enslave inside the city we have. So the only way to send a message is to go to the fucking places where the laws aren't like that. And there might be very few of them, but those places will actually blow up. If you're not able to do that, your goal should be trying to be able to do that. It's really that simple. There's no use in staying in a place where they're going to make you submit, and there's nothing you can do about it. You build. Landmass is landmass. Like, we've lost that. Like, I don't know if people realize, but like, that shit's gone. Like, you folded, you submitted, we're fucked in that realm. But the digital realm, this new revelation that's happening, is something that we could be a part of, and we can actually do something about. It doesn't matter, like, it's not like we're going up against armies. It's literally mind share. What you focus on. They're fighting on what you focus and what you put your energy in. Do you put it into their system? Do you store value in their system? Or are you going to store it in a new system? Whatever the new system is. But it has to be a different fucking system. You can't just keep going with the same status quo and thinking things are going to change when they're not. It's too big of a risk, too big of a gamble. So pick up the freedom tools, move to countries where you have liberties, plan for the future. What I think is going to happen, because I always think the worst case scenario is possible. That means if it can't happen, it will happen. They're going to come out, most of the countries, not most, but a lot of first world countries, big countries are going to go against it. They're going to say you need to KYC your wallets. And you're going to have a lot of people who just don't even know that's an attack and they accept it. You'll have some people who resist and move. My hope is that it's a lot, but in practice, I think it's going to be very few. I think as they start to squeeze the towel, because it's not like people are like, oh, what's the problem with them knowing your information? It's like, no, you're getting into a position where you're using technology where you're saying, okay, this is who I am, this is my balance, and they control the chain. You understand? So you put, like, let's say you're in a lightning situation, or if you're on a centralized blockchain, that's what's going to happen. They have complete control. So that means whoever has the keys, whoever can push that button, has the power to eliminate your savings, has the power to take things from you in a way that they hadn't before. Right now you have cash, you have precious metals. They're trying to eliminate all that. They're trying to push into a digital UBI where people are more desperate than ever. Get them on the UBI train. You can't do UBI through a bank. You can't reach the entire world that way. But with this lightning technology, the zero fees, it's very easy. And you don't need infrastructure. You just give them the phones. You have internet satellite. So I think what we're about to see is the rise of UBI, with Lightning Network wallets reaching all over the world. And you're going to see them coming after non-KYC, the whales at first. But of course, they're going to want everyone to submit. And I think the only way is to move to countries that don't require that. It's really the only defense you have. And then if those countries are prosperous enough, it'll be a way of the free market speaking, because the world is still decentralized to some extent. And leaving a country, enough people can have an effect. And we see how countries like El Salvador, like if enough people go there and build infrastructure, it can change the country. So hopefully we see people going to countries that aren't so bad for business. It's always a what's good for business model. And a lot of these countries are doing bad business. It's that simple. They're not doing good business, go to some place where it's actually good business. It makes sense. It's like, look, I don't mind declaring what I make, but the reason for the KYC is if you force me to KYC, that means you could take my funds. It means you could freeze my account. And we saw what happened with Canada. I'm not a person who will allow somebody to control the system because there's one or two bad actors. That's like saying you can't drive a car because there's bad people and they get in wrecks. So the police or some guy, from the government has to drive you around. You need to take public transportation. A lot of people would be against that, right? Why wouldn't they be against this? Why is there some douchebag out there who can push a button and freeze my shit because I voted for somebody or I had an opinion? That should never happen. It should be on the individual. They say, oh, well, we're going to take care of you on the outside. Yeah, a little bit of crabs will get out of the bucket. Boo fucking who, i.e., maybe not everyone pays their fucking taxes because they couldn't capture them all. God for fucking bid that happens because they use the tax dollars so wisely. No, they have to make sure to get that last 10% and fucking have complete control and tyranny instead of having a neutral layer they can't control. And if there are bad actors, they actually go after the fucking bad actors. But nobody should have, like Kanye says, all of that power. Nobody should have the ability to actually, that's like God mode, man. Like they could literally do whatever they want. They can silence your speech. They can freeze your assets. You can't be in that world. You can't be in a worst case scenario, I'm completely fucked in all categories. Why would you ever, people do business deals every day. And I don't think anyone would take a business deal where it's like, well, let's see, okay, well, there is a chance I get completely fucked and destroyed and demolished. Yeah, I'm gonna sign that. People don't think about that, but that's exactly what you're doing when you allow this technology to take over. You're allowing yourself to get into a situation where you're fucked. It's an all-in with trust. You're hoping that they're not that bad, that it can't get that bad. That's your hope. That's your only defense. And it's pathetic. So you have to move to countries. You have to get into a situation where the protocol is neutral. And if you're doing some bad shit, you're doing some bad shit and they come after you. But no one controls the protocol. And countries that allow you to use such a protocol that is neutral, and they're like, look, we're going to trust you. You're not guilty. We're not going to treat you like a criminal, right? We're not going to be like, you're guilty and you have to prove that you're not guilty. That's what it kind of feels like nowadays, right? With like, oh, how much, what you doing with your money there? Oh, you got $600 in your account? What you doing with that? How'd you get that? That's our tax dollars to ask those questions and to get those answers because it takes fucking manpower to do that. That's why you don't understand. It's so many complexities that it's so asinine that we've allowed ourselves to get in such a situation that it's time to wake the fuck up, realize that self-custody is going to be illegal. If you allow that, if you're like, fine, I'll KYC and use these centralized chains, you're fucked, man. You're fucked. You're guaranteed to get fucked, or your kids or some future generation, you're selling the fuck out. And hopefully there's some countries out there with some balls, not even balls, that are just smart, because it's going to give a lot of smart people, like a lot of rich people are going to be looking for a country that's like, yeah, dude, use fucking Hive or use non-custodial Bitcoin wallet and not have to, like, it's no fucking big deal. Like, it's cool here. That's where people are going to go to, and we're going to see that more and more. So if there's any investments, you should be looking at fucking pro-governments that are pro this shit, who are against these tyrannical laws, and getting fucking real estate there, because that's where people are going to move. Of course, people don't have the foresight to do it. They'll stay in these fucking countries until it's almost illegal to leave. I don't know if you remember Canada. People are like, I can't fucking leave. like, you allowed that. You put yourself in a gay situation where you couldn't leave your own country. It's like, leave now. If you don't, then you're just fucking allowing it. If you're like saying, I don't agree with these laws, this feels stupid, why are they doing this? Yet you're still living there, you're allowing it. And I know a lot of people can't fucking get out. They don't have the money. It's like, that's not an excuse, man. You just gotta make it happen. It's like, it's like saying, I'm not faster than the dinosaur. Well, then you get fucking eaten, don't you? It's like, get the fuck out. Or you live in a shitty place and you made your bed. It's really not that fucking difficult. Like, I've moved on a penny in a bucket. Like, I've been out of my country with not a lot of money. And yeah, it might be scary and you might feel like you're on your own, but like, what's the alternative? Canada, Australia, you want to live there? You really want to live in fucking Canada right now? Because I know some of the most, I guess you'd say, left-wing people who are like, this is insane. Like, it's not even a wing anymore. These motherfuckers have left the realm of fucking insanity and they're doing crazy shit. And now everyone's like, the people who are even the most submissive are like, I don't really agree with it, but you know, this is what it is. And then like the people who are like, we're buying the shit, drinking the Kool-Aid, are like, nah, man, I need to get out of here. Looking at places like Mexico, looking at places like Latin America, you're gonna have your places that you can go. Get the fuck out, because they will come after you. You can KYC your wallets. I don't have any problem KYCing a wallet on a protocol they can't control. I'll pay my taxes. I pay my taxes, right? Like, it's not that fucking hard. Like, if you have a yacht and shit that you're not, like, it's not that hard to find these people. They're just being lazy. They're just like, no, we just want to push a button. It's like, we don't want to actually have to do work. That's crazy. Because they're not going after the people with yachts anyway, because those people never go to prison. They're going after, they want power, it's control. They want control over you. That's what they want. They want to go after the people who are basically living paycheck to paycheck so they can get the motherfuckers on UBI and create a army of slave wage people who are relying on UBI and they can't get by without it. So that's what we're looking through. I think we're going to go through it. I think it's going to be shitty as fuck. I think it's going to be some craziest times, and we're just going to have to get through it. I don't think the capitulation's here yet. I think people think it's only going. Some people think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get much worse and then better. And the solution will be hardened and solidified and made a diamond during that rock bottom, because that's always what happens. Right? The solution always comes out at the hardest fucking moment. That's when people say, okay, enough's enough. I don't know why it's that way, but it is what it is. Well, I think what's going to happen is absolute tyranny in all of the countries that are considered really nice right now, like U.S. and all, you know what I mean. The fucking countries where they have the manpower and the ability to do UBI. There's going to be UBI countries and there's going to be non-UBI countries. The non-UBI countries don't have the power to fucking say you can't KYC, like being all uppity. They don't have the resources. Then you're gonna have countries that UBI, and then they're gonna be like, motherfucker, submit or you don't get your free money. They've eradicated the middle class almost. There's a thread of it, but it's not the fucking 1950s anymore, is it? Looks nothing like the 1950s. There's no fucking middle class anymore. It's gone. It's decimated. Most people are paycheck to paycheck. Most people are in debt. Most people can't afford a home. Fucking wife and husband have to work. Like, we're in shitville, fucking poor and rich. And the rich have gotten so goddamn rich. It's so crazy how rich these motherfuckers have gotten. During the hardest times when everyone else lost money, these motherfuckers are just crazy, stupid rich, right in front of your fucking faces. And now they're going to try to get you to fucking submit with the UBI. So it's like the future is, if like, it's not even about being moralistic, because people think I'm some moral guy. It's like, dude, I'm a poker player. Like, I'm doing the best outcome. And guess what? The best outcome is not being a douchebag. It just happens like that's short-term pleasure for long-term pain. I'm willing to go through some pain for the future being brighter, because I'm not living on, oh, well, this hurts, I submit. It's like, well, if I submit, then I'm living like an average life for the rest of my goddamn life. Whereas if I don't, there's a chance of like some super badass life I could live and my kids could live. So it's like a gamble. It's like, I want the better life. Like, why would you settle for an average to low to fucking terrible outcome? It's like, okay, my best chance of winning is like completely average. It's stupid. I don't know why people are like that. Like, why is life so important to you that you're like, oh, an average life, I have to have it. My kids have to have an even averager life. And that's like, you're talking best case scenario is an average life. It's probably gonna be a terrible life, or like semi like fucking dystopian where it's goddamn terrible, but they don't beat you all the goddamn time and you get to smell the roses once a week type shit. So it's like, ooh, you know, it's like, it's not like hell, but it's fucking on the gates of it. And that's where they're gonna go. They'll push you to where the people will accept it, and then they find their line where they fucking skin the sheep, and the sheep will go, oh, fuck you can't do that anymore. Like they're gonna find that line, and it's pathetic how low it is. It's pathetic how much people will actually put up with. Like, leave these places and build tools to free yourself. Or if you don't know how to build, adopt them. Understand game theory, like try to understand how to preserve freedom of speech in a digital era and all this new shit that we're going through. I know it's a lot, and a lot's happening quickly, and there's so much going on that's hard to, but like, it's like take a deep breath and try to find the basics. And maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe complete centralization will be okay. In that case, all we're building, who cares? It's like, okay, cool, we didn't need it. They're all cool people after all. So like, even in the most friendliest, coolest scenario where like the governments are totally cool and like they're fucking not fucking you over and it's law goodness, you still have like an insurance ticket. But like, if they're not, if they end up being douchebags and you don't have a backup policy, it's shitty. It's a shitty world. So like, it's an obvious no-brainer. It's not even like, oh, you're being greedy. It's like, dude, just fucking get out. Form communities. Like, bring it back to the grassroots. Bring your fucking, what do? You're an editor. Oh, okay, you do this, you do that. You're a musician. Like, what the fuck? Like, get a community together. Close and knit. Like, get together. Because, like, when shit hits the fan, if you have in a community that you have a lifeline to, if you both have internet connections and you can communicate, that's good. That's oxygen. Like, you can't fight without oxygen. And right there, that's oxygen. If they take that away, if they take my ability to communicate with Billy, who lives 1,000 miles away, if I can't communicate with that motherfucker, like literally can't even write him a goddamn letter, it's over, it's done, they've won, we've lost forever, it's absolute tyranny, right? We cannot allow that ability, because if they can communicate to Billy, but we can't communicate to Billy, we are absolutely fucked, because they win. They can communicate, but we can't. We're in the dark, they're not. We have the ability right now that it'd be incredibly hard to censor. Game theoretically almost impossible if humans really step up. A way to always have that lifeline. And that should be in the top of everyone's list. But, you got meme coins, and I don't think they're all that bad. I think their community's coming together. I think it's the beginning of these things. And I think actually meme coins play a big role in this dystopian future of Mad Max that I'm picturing, where they're gonna be sort of the X factor because they're so goddamn crazy and just fucking awesome. Like, they're funny, they're cool, they're like fuck it mentality. I think if you gave these people freedom, like real freedom tools, and like they tried to censor like retardo, for example, or retardo or whatever the fuck that card, that meme is, that new meme is, they try to censor you, these people would just go ape shit. They'd be like, yeah, fuck you. I think you need a lot of those type of people. So like, the rise of the meme coins is the beginning of the end. That is the communities rising up against the financial system. These multi-billion-dollar meme coins are people lashing out. It's like nothing. It's like we can tell you what's valuable. You don't tell us what's valuable. So it's a rebellion And if you give these type of people freedom tools, it can become very interesting because nobody's interested in centralized DeFi. Nobody's interested in all of this fucking archaic bullshit tech because everyone sees the true colors now. If you have a high fee base layer, you have a custodial second layer. Everyone's saying that now. Now, I've said that a billion times. I've said it so many times it hurts my brain to say it again. It's like, it's so obvious that that was going to happen. But you have to go through it. Like, you have to, people have, like, you can tell people what's good for them or whatever the fuck, but they don't, it doesn't matter. They have to go through it themselves and they have to get the scar to say, oh, fuck, you know, self-custody's on the way. Type in self-custody right now or self-custody Bitcoin right now on Twitter. You're going to see a bunch of people waking the fuck up. And look at when they made the tweets. It's going to be today. So if you look in the past, it'll probably be 1%. If you look at all the people talking about it now, it'll be 99% of the content is now. Because people have been burned. They're starting to realize, holy shit, this is real. High fee chain, custodial layer 2. No one can use the base layer. They're coming after the mixers. Now they're talking about KYC wallets. People are waking the fuck up. I don't know how, because I have no power over these people. I don't know how much like people are willing to take. Because like right now, if where I was to say you have to KYC all your crypto wallets, I would just move. And I have to move to fucking the Congo, I'd move to the fucking Congo. Like I've lived in Costa Rica in the jungle. That's like walking the talking. Like I'm doing what I'm fucking talking. I'm actually living that life. Like I'm not in some goddamn place where I know that it's gonna be tyrannical laws. And if it was, I have an exit strategy. I'm not putting myself in some helpless limp dick situation where it's like, oh, I can't leave and I have to do the tyranny way. Pathetic. Can't be put in that situation. So many people are just so worried about making a buck. It's like dangling a fucking bell. It's like, God, I gotta survive, gotta make a buck, and not realizing they're closing the goddamn cage. And so few of us are gonna be out. There's gonna be lucky people by association who just happen to live in that country. But there's gonna be a lot of people who are fucked, put their value in the wrong place. It's gonna be glim. It's gonna be like a minority fork. And it's not fun being a minority fork at the beginning, but we will grow because it will be a fork that'll be very hard to stop. I don't think you can stop it or the movie breaks or the script breaks because there's two sides of everything. If there is decentralization, that means by the very fact that a coin has two sides, there must be decentralization. You can't have centralization without decentralization. You can't have light without dark. So like, there's always gonna be a way humans can say, fuck you, and a system we can opt out of. There's always gonna be enough humans that do it that makes it sustainable. That's my belief. I could be wrong, and maybe like this breaks the fucking program where you literally have a one-sided coin and we go 2D somehow. And it's like you have something that doesn't have an opposite. But I don't believe in that. I believe in if you break this shit down like the very basics, fucking physics, whatever the fuck you call this, like you break this shit down, there's gonna be censorship-resistant protocols out there by very nature of centralized protocols. So, you know, find them, rally around them. Like the Loud Tap says, don't panic. All right, I'm gonna take 5.